Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Michael Voris. Over 2,000 aborted babies found in a Bangkok temple. Police in Thailand discovered the bodies in containers in the temple mortuary after the foul odor had been reported when the building's furnace broke down. 2 temple workers and another woman were paid $16 per body by illegal abortion clinics to dispose of their illegal garbage, as the dead babies were found wrapped inside plastic bags. The remains were found just days after the discovery of 348 aborted babies in another area of the same temple. Christian mother sentenced to hanging. A Pakistani court issued a death sentence for a 45-year-old Christian woman and mother of 5 from a tiny village in the Punjab province. The charge, blasphemy. According to local authorities, the woman was picking fruit in a field when she dipped her cup into a bucket of drinking water during a break. Her co-workers complained that a non-Muslim had contaminated the water. Witnesses claimed the woman then began to argue with the others and insulted the Prophet Muhammad and the Quran, for which she was then arrested, thrown into prison for 15 months, and finally sentenced to death by hanging. Because of worldwide protests and a personal plea from Pope Benedict to release this Christian mother, there's a good chance that the Pakistani government will spare her life. Keep her in your prayers. Cohabitation Nation. According to the latest U.S. Census report, living together has become today's normative experience, with nearly 50% of young adults aged 20 to 40 cohabiting. The trend toward cohabitation is producing a cultural transformation that has profound ramifications for both individuals and communities. University of Michigan researcher Pamela Smock warns, quote, premarital cohabitation tends to be associated with lower marital quality and increased risk of divorce. The divorce rates of women who cohabit are nearly 80% higher than the rates of those who do not. Neil Clark Warren, co-founder of the online dating service eHarmony, interviewed 500 persons asking them to tell him about the marriage they most admired. Nearly half could not recommend even one healthy, exemplary marriage.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web. And RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
CatholicUnderground.com, the podcast about our Catholic faith and new media.
Vatican newspaper betrayed Pope. Journalists who received Pope Benedict's latest book, Light of the World, were told that the text was under a very strict embargo. They were forbidden to quote from it, cite it, or even make any specific revelations about its content until the formal launch of the book this week. Then, incredibly, the Vatican's own newspaper violated the embargo by publishing the now infamous passage in which the Pope reflected on the possibility that in some extreme cases, the impulse to use a condom might show a flickering of unselfishness in a seriously corrupted conscience. Now, publicity which might have offered an accurate and favorable portrayal of the Pope's book will be nearly lost in the deluge of misinformation currently sweeping across the world. And lastly, Obama job approval sinks. President Obama, the most pro-abortion president in American history, has passed the big 4-0 going the wrong way. Turns out voters were not simply satisfied to spank the Democrats and his party in the November 2nd midterm elections with historic losses in the House of Representatives. Obama's job approval rating, as calculated by the Zogby poll, has now sunk to 39%, a new low for his 22-month presidency that began with so much hope and excitement, and poll numbers up around 70. As recently as September 20th, his job approval was 49%. Now, a whopping 60% disapprove of his job, up from 51% disapproval on September 20th. Obama now trails in a hypothetical 2012 matchup against Republican Mitt Romney. I'm Michael Voris. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out the Vortex today, where we discuss the new president of the American Bishops' Conference. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tell your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.